Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. And we're starting a new chapter today. Let's do Radha Madhav right now. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giravardhari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giravardhari. Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Agyan Nimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptam Yena Bhutale Sarupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanitam Tam Satyam Sadhavetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vichakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpato Brihascha Kirpa Sindhubhevacha Paditana Pavnebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatam Vande Shri Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chitaneshwaram Hariyam Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Sasvitvyasam Tato Jemaduriyat Nasta Presha Abdureshu Nityam Bhavseva Bhakti Uttamstake Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. So Hare Krishna everyone, and let's make a start. Stop this. And right. First of all, let's see what we are going to be talking about on this chapter. So chapter 10, Krishna's departure for Dwarka. So verses 1 to 6 is about the kingdom of Maharaj Yudhishthira. So 1, 2, 3, reestablished by Krishna, Yudhishthira ruled with perfect knowledge. And verses 4 to 6, prosperous kingdom and happy subjects. So that'll be the backdrop of the new era of the new ruler. And then verses 7 to 14, intensity of the Lord Krishna's attractive influence. So after staying for a few months, Krishna plans to leave for Dwarka. And then 9 to 14, unbearable separation of Pandavas and others. So Krishna's separation is unbearable wherever he goes, wherever he lives. So Lord Krishna was appropriately honored. So 15 to 18, musical instruments, flower showers, umbrella, I don't know what the next word is, fan, yeah, it should be fan, brahmanas, benedictions. And then we have 20 to 31, Hastinapur ladies discuss Lord's glories. So as Krishna leaves, pleasing talks more attractive than Vedic hymns. Krishna is the original person of Godhead, empowers Prakriti for recreation. Devotees experience the Lord's form and describe his pastimes. The Lord descends into the material world to punish miscreants. And then 26-30, Yadu dynasty, Mathura, Dwarka, queens and gopis are glorious. And in 31, the Lord smiled and accepted their greetings. So when he has a good sending off from here, from Hastinapur, and then when he arrives in Dwarka, he gets just as much glorious welcome up there. So 30 to 36, Lord proceeds for Dwarka. So Yudhishthira arranged defense for Krishna's protection and accompanied him for some distance. So they took him all the way to the border of Hastinapur. And if they had the choice or the option, they would have gone with him all the way. Lord passes through various provinces on his way. So that is 1 to 36 verses in this. It's a short chapter. And that's what we'll be discussing from today. So hopefully we'll finish one of the first 4 verses today. And let's make a start. So first verse, Shonak Vacha, Hatva Swarikta Sprid Atatayino Yudhishthiro Dharma Vritam Vrishta Sahanujahi Prityavaruddha Bhojana Katham Pavirta Kim Akarshit Tataha. So Shonak Vacha, Shonak inquired Hatva after killing Swarkitha, the legal inheritance, Spridha, desiring to usurp, Atatayina, the aggressor, Yudhishthira, King Yudhishthira, Dharma Vritam, of those who strictly follow religious principles, Vrishtatha, greatest, Saha Anujahi, with his younger brothers, Pitva Vruda, restricted, Bhojanaha, acceptance of necessities, Katham, how, Pravartha, engaged, Kim, what, Akarshit, executed, Tatha, thereafter. So Shonak Muni said, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthira, assisted by brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. So this is when you have Maharaj Parikshit who recited the Bhagavatam, then Sutta Goswami heard it, and then he recited to the rishis, the sages of name Sharanya, and they had was Shonak Rishi, who was like the spokesman, and he's asking this question to Sutta Goswami. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was the greatest of all men of religion. Thus he was not at all inclined to fight with his cousins for the sake of enjoying the kingdom. He fought for the right cause because the kingdom of Hastinapur was his rightful inheritance and his cousins wanted to usurp it for themselves. He fought therefore for the right cause under the guidance of Lord Shri Krishna. But he could not enjoy the results of his victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. He therefore ruled over the kingdom as a matter of duty, assisted by his younger brothers. The inquiry was important for Shaunak Rishi, who wanted to know about the behavior of Maharaj Yudhishthira when he was at ease to enjoy the kingdom. So how did Maharaj, in what kind of attitude did he have when he was ruling? So let's see if there's anything here we can add to this from Srila Prabhupada. So it's mentioned that when you are the emperor of the world, you have power and opulence. And something can go to your head as well. And history shows that it does go to people's head. It's like Indra, for example. It's that power, that influence, that throne, that position. It can elude you very easily. So when you are the emperor of the world, you have power and influence. There is no conflict going on. There is peace. Then there is tendencies to enjoy all the facilities. Shaunak Rishi wanted to know, what did Maharaj Yudhishthira do? Did he enjoy? Did he exploit? What did he do? So Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was a devotee of Krishna, surrendered to the Supreme. That allowed him to dutifully serve without exploiting the resources. Normally, this is what kings would do. So much power. We find that when there are challenges, we have the tendency to escape. When we have resources, we have the tendency to exploit, be proud and negligent. So we can become negligent when we have resources, we have power. We take things for granted. We take people for granted. And this example given here in Ramayana, we find three types of lives. So in Ayodhya, we have Krishna conscious culture. People are absorbed. In Lanka, there is no Krishna consciousness, only sense gratification. So the first one, Ayodhya, was Sanskriti. And in Lanka, there was Vikriti. In Kishkinda, where Hanumanji and Vali were resident. So we got Ayodhya, we got Lanka, in between was Kishkinda. In Kishkinda, that is in between. Here there is the forgetfulness. Sugriv was happy when Lord Ram was there. But when he got the kingdom, he forgot. He forgot Lord Ram. This is like us. When things go well, we have the tendency to forget. Ram sent Lakshman to remind Sugriv his promise. Praviti. So Lord Ram got Sugriv his kingdom back from his brother Vali, and Sugriv had promised Lord Ram that he would help him to fight Ravan if he gets his kingdom back, which he did. But then once he got the power, he got his wife back, and I think got Vali's wife as well. He was just having too much fun. Yeah, he really couldn't care less anymore because he got what he wanted, and he more or less forgot his promise to Ram that he still had a responsibility to Ram. So Lakshman had to go and remind him of what the deal was. They scored a deal that you help me, then I'll come and help you. But Sugriv, he totally went out of his head because it was too much fun. So that tends to be the way. So Yudhishthira Maharaj made a lot of promises, and he was going to do put things right, but they want to know. So did he just get carried away with his newfound power and kingdom, or what did he do? So I'll leave that one here. We'll go to the next one. Suta Vacha. Vamsam Kuro Vamsha Davagni Nirartam Samro Yivitva Bhavno Hari Niveshayitva Nij Rajya Ishvaro Yudhishtaram Prit Mana Babhuvaha. So Sutta Vacha, Sutta Goswami replied, Vamsham, dynasty, Kuruho of King Kuru, Vamshadav Agni, a forest fire set by the bamboos, Nirhirtam, exhausted, Samrohayitva, Samrohayitva, seedling of the dynasty, Bhav Bhavana, the maintainer of creation, Harihi, the personality of God, Shri Krishna, Nimshayitva, having re-established Nij Rajye, in his own kingdom, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Yudhishtaram, unto Maharaj Yudhishthara, Prit Manha, pleased in his mind, Babuvaha, became. So Suta Goswami said, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So the Lord was on their side. So this world is compared to a forest fire caused by the cohesion of bamboo bushes. Such a forest fire takes place automatically, for bamboo cohesion occurs without external cause. Similarly, so they just rub against each other and fire starts. They don't need any external cause to start the fire. Similarly, in the material world, the wrath of those who want to lord it over material nature interacts and the fire of war takes place, exhausting the unwanted population. Such fires or wars take place and the Lord has nothing to do with them. So, we don't need Lord's intervention. We can spoil things just by ourselves. But because he wants to maintain the creation, he desires the mass of people to follow the right path of self-realization, which enables the living beings to enter into the kingdom of God. So it's end of the day, it's not like the Lord, it says earlier, the war takes place exhausting the unwanted population. It's not that Krishna, we are all his children, right? We are all his parts and parcels. It's not that he wants us gone, finished, because we can't finish. We are spiritual souls. We cannot die. He doesn't want us. He doesn't want to lose us. He doesn't want to lose his children. He just wants good behavior from us. And those who don't behave themselves, they have to have repercussions and maybe a new body and in a different mode. So they can do something about going back home. So the Lord wants the suffering human beings to come back home, back to him, and cease to suffer the threefold material pangs. So it's for our own benefit. The whole plan of creation is made in that way, and one who does not come to his senses suffers in the material world by pangs inflicted by the illusory energy of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada keeps reminding us, but we keep forgetting. The Lord therefore wants his bona fide representative to rule the world. Lord Shri Krishna descended to establish this sort of regime and to kill the unwanted persons who have nothing to do with his plan. So those who are spoiling his plan, Krishna wants them gone because they're like the rotten apples. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought according to the plan of the Lord, so that undesirable persons could get out of the world and a peaceful kingdom under his devotee could be established. So it'd be like Ram Rajya, like that. So there's just a Rajya here, but peaceful, prosper kingdom. The Lord was therefore fully satisfied when King Yudhishthira was on the throne and the seedling of the dynasty of Kuru in the person of Maharaj Parikshit was saved. So the future is also bright. With Maharaj Parikshit, will be the king in the future. So in 2, it's mentioned that it's not that the Lord is causing this friction between these people, the people. It's their nature of exploitation that causes unwanted situations. Most people don't want wars. It destroys lives and resources as well. So you can see now how many lives are destroyed, how many buildings are destroyed, how much they're putting the taxes up because using so many missiles. Where do they come from? It comes from people's pockets. As long as we are in the material world, there will always be problems. The solution is to leave this material world and go back home to Godhead. This is why Lord Krishna wanted Maharaj Yudhishthira to be on the throne and lead and guide the masses so they are able to go back home to Godhead. So when we go back to Godhead, the difference there is that there is no time there, there are no modes there, and there's no three types of miseries there. So Krishna has created the material world because he doesn't want us to settle down here. He wants us back home where we belong, to a home. So he's given us this material world, but because it's just a shadow of the reality, it comes with all this, comes as a package with all these other problems of the three modes of time, of three kinds of miseries. We have to deal with them. They're like constant reminder that you're in the wrong place. 3. Nishamya muktam athachut vaktam parvirta vigyan viduta vibramah shashan gam indra ivajita ashraya paridyam panatam anujan uvritataha. So Nishamya, after listening, Bhisham Uktam, what was spoken by Bhishamdev, Atha, as also Achyut Uktam, what was spoken by the infallible Lord Krishna, Parvrita, being engaged in, Vigyan, perfect knowledge, Viduta, completely washed, Brahmaha, all misgivings, Shashasa, ruled over, Gam, the earth, Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, Eve like, Ajit, Ashraya, protected by the invincible Lord, Priti, Upantam, including the seas, Anuj, the young brothers, Anu, Vrititha, being followed by them. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishamdev and Lord Shri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. So the modern English law of primogeniture, or the law of inheritance by the firstborn, was also prevalent in those days when Maharaj Yudhishthira ruled the earth and seas. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was the firstborn to Pandu. Otherwise, Dhritarashtra was the elder son, so he had a right to the throne, but he was blind, so Pandu was made king. But then Pandu's son was the eldest, so naturally Yudhishthira Maharaj was the rightful owner of the throne. In those days, the king of Hastinapur, now part of New Delhi, was the emperor of the world, including the seas up to the time of Maharaj Parikshit. So not just ruling Delhi or India, the whole world, because the emperor, there's a king, there's various kings, even Lord Krishna was a king in Dwarka, and he was under the authority of Maharaj Yudhishthira as well. So there's kings and there's the emperor who rules over all the kings. Call it Samrat? Yeah, known as Samrat. Maharaj Yudhishthira's younger brothers were acting as his ministers and commanders of state, and there was full cooperation between the perfectly religious brothers of the king. So look at the difference. I mean, one time they got nothing. They're living in the forest, didn't even have enough to eat. And they were even satisfied with 5 villages if Duryodhana had agreed. And now they're ruling the whole world. What a contrast. And it's all thanks to Krishna. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the ideal king or representative of Lord Shri Krishna to rule over the kingdom of earth, and was comparable to King Indra. So it would have been such a waste of talent. He can rule the world, and if he didn't have any of that or just had a village, it would be such a waste of talent, a loss to society. The representative ruler of the heavenly planets. So he's compared to Indra. The demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varun, and Vayu are represented kings of different planets of the universe. And similarly, Mahayudhishthira was also one of them, ruling over the kingdom of the earth. Mahayudhishthira was not a typically unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. Mahayudhishthira was instructed by Bhishamdev and the infallible Lord also, and therefore he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. The modern elected executive head of state is just like a puppet because he has no kingly power. So Srila Prabhupada is really not happy with modern executives or politicians. Even if he is enlightened like Mahayudhishthira, he can't do anything out of his own goodwill due to his constitutional position. Therefore, there are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. But a king like Mahayudhishthira had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent, Bhishamdev. It is instructed in the Shastra that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Mahayudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles are infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. So it's not imperfect humans create their own ideology according to their own thinking, according to their own mode which they are dominated by. So they cannot. So if they in mode of passion and they create ideology in the mode of passion, the people in the other modes will not be satisfied by that. They will not be happy because it does not suit their type of thinking. This is why you have various political parties. They all have their own ideology and they make their own types of promises. Whether they keep them is another thing, but they promise according to the market they're targeting. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is a person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is a fool's paradise. That is the law of nature. And we are seeing that happening right now, not mentioning any names, but it's happening right now. That is the law of nature. There are so many stories of imperfect kings or executive heads. Therefore, the executive head must be a trained person like Mahayudhishthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Mahayudhishthira. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Mahayudhishthira to rule over the world. So, Srila Prabhupada, everyone satisfied with Mahayudhishthira that he is the right person? So Mahayudhishthira is compared to Indra. He is ruling like him, but he is also a higher level devotee than Indra. So like demigods are not necessarily pure devotees. Mahayudhishthira is a pure devotee. He follows Krishna 100%. The ideology of the Lord should be followed, not your own, which Indra sometimes he gets carried away. This is beneficial for everyone. Party-made ideology is good for only one type of people. So there have been rulers, emperors, dynasties which have been nothing but disaster for the people. Constant bloodshed of their citizens. Well, like the Roman empires we've seen and others, all they've done is just create wars and bloodshed. Treasury wasted in personal gratification. The world can only be happy under the leadership of like Maharaj Yudhishthira, who are devotees of Krishna and they are powerful. Many people will follow them because the king Krishna conscious and others will follow the example, or because they fear the authority. So one reason or other, if you are Krishna conscious or you are the king, whatever your philosophy, will people follow that philosophy out of respect and love for you, or because they fear you, they still have to follow you. Yudhishthira Maharaj knew he had his four brothers and Lord Krishna for protection. He had the instructions and blessings of Vishwam. Yudhishthira Maharaj's task was to rule the citizens, sort out their disputes, and no doubt there are many disputes to sort out for an emperor. Kamam Vavarsha Parjanya Sarva Kam Dugha Mahi Sishichu Samprajan Gaba Payasodas Vatir Muda. So Kamam, everything needed, Vavarsh was showered, Parjanya rains, Sarva everything, Kam necessities, Duga producer, Mahi the land, Sishichu Sama moisture, Varajan pasturing grounds, Gavha the cow, Payasa Ud Svithi due to swollen milk bags, and Muda or Muda because of a joyful attitude. So during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the cloud showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to his fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. So that was the situation. Now, because there's happiness everywhere, and all things were done properly. There's less sin on the planet, so everything was in profuse. So the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. The necessities of human society are food grains, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood, etc. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly one does not require flesh and fish or iron tools and machinery. During the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthira, all over the world there were regulated rainfalls. Rainfalls are not in the control of human beings. The heavenly king Indradev is the control of rains, and he is the servant of the Lord. When the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains from the horizon, and these rains are the causes of all varieties of production on the land. Not only do the regulated rains help ample production of grains and fruits, but when they combine with astronomical influences, there is ample production of valuable stones and pearls. Grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and animals, and fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man, and again sumptuously with vigor and vitality. If there is enough milk, enough grains, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk, and enough jewels, then why do the people need cinemas, houses of prostitution, slaughterhouses, etc.? So what is the need of an artificial, luxurious life of cinema, cars, radio, flesh, and hotel? So I mean, these are things that we've sort of invented for our sense gratification, that they're not a necessity. And these sense gratification items, types of food, types of clothing, types of living, type of gadgets, they just keep increasing. There's no limit. Has this civilization produced anything but quarreling individually and nationally? Has this civilization enhanced the cause of equality and fraternity by sending thousands of men into a hellish factory and the war fuels at the whims of a particular man? That's surely happening. It is said here that the cows used to moisten the pasturing land with milk because their milk bags were fatty and the animals were joyful. Do they not require, therefore, proper protection for a joyful life by being fed with sufficient quantity of grass in the field? Why should men kill cows for the selfish purposes? Why should man not be satisfied with grains, fruits, and milk, which combined together can produce hundreds and thousands of palatable dishes? Why are there slaughterhouses all over the world to kill innocent animals. Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthira, while touring his vast kingdom, saw a black man attempting to kill a cow. The king at once arrested the butcher and chastised him sufficiently. Should not a king or executive head protect the lives of the poor animals who are unable to defend themselves? So the animals are also citizens, the plants, trees, they're all citizens, and the king's duty to protect them all. Is this humanity? Are not the animals of a country citizens also? Then why are they allowed to be butchered in organized slaughterhouses? Are these the signs of equality, fraternity, and non-violence? Therefore, in contrast with the modern, advanced, civilized form of government, an autocracy like Maharaj Yudhishthira's is by far superior to a so-called democracy in which animals are killed and a man less than an animal is allowed to cast votes for another less than animal man. So we are all creatures of material nature. In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is said that the Lord himself is the seed-giving father and material nature is the mother of all living beings in all shapes. This mother material nature has enough foodstuff both for animals and for men by the grace of the Father Almighty, Sri Krishna. The human being is the elder brother of all other living beings. He is endowed with intelligence more powerful than animals. For realizing the course of nature and the indications of the Almighty Father, human civilization should depend on the production of material nature without artificially attempting economic development to turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and power only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. This is but the life of dogs and hogs. So, although we're expecting to read about Lord Krishna going back to Dwarka, but it's important to establish what did he leave behind. Why 650 million people were killed, and what was the result of that? What essence came out of all that bloodshed? What changed? If nothing changed, then yes, then it's a bloodbath for no reason. Things changed. Things happened for the better. All the nonsense all the impurities were taken out, and all the purity was left. So, okay, I think we will stop here. Thank you all so much once again for joining, and like to hear from yourselves. And okay, it's time. I think we'll hear from Hina Mataji, just in case she needs to leave early, and then Pundikaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for the class, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, these are very, very nice verses, and quite happy verses as well, with Maharaj Yudhishthira being the crowned emperor of the world, and he was very much like the ideal candidate to do so into all the earth. His qualities were exemplary, and I think from reading it seems as if that was the reason for his sole purpose, really. But I was thinking about how throughout his life, up until this point, he had to undergo so much suffering along with his brothers and Queen Kunti. But he, throughout all of that, throughout his life, up until this point, which is kind of like the latter stage of his life, he followed the Lord. He followed the Lord, and he kept him close. He kept Krishna close, regardless of the twists and the turns that he had to experience. And now he's at this kind of, we say, after happy, settled, stable part of his life. It shows that for us to learn, especially for me, it's that life is a constant change. It has ups and downs, but we shouldn't take it too seriously or get too distracted by it, and just remain steady on the path of devotional service, regardless, similar to how Maharaj Yudhishthira was. So, yeah, that was everything from me. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Pundikaksh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Yeah, Again, there are so many points mentioned in these purports. Yudhishthira Maharaj was worried that he has done a great wrong thing, but actually he has got the sanction of the Lord. Like Krishna tried in many ways to avoid the war. Even he went to build a peace treaty by asking them to give 5 places at least, because they are Kshatriyas, they need to be a king, they cannot do any other thing. But they denied. So Krishna tried all the ways, and then Krishna sanctioned this war, after which Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas have done this war. So ideally, there is nothing to worry, because they got the sanction of the Lord Himself. Um, but still, Yudhishthira Maharaj so compassionate. He was just thinking about all those things again. And I was listening to a class by Chublas Prabhu that whenever Krishna comes to he comes to establish the dharma, but it is not that completely eliminating the dharma as such, but bringing the dharma to a level where it is in complete balance, and then the world will go on again for some time, and again Krishna will come again to re-establish the dharma at all yuga and yuga and yuga. And I like that point, like whether brothers cooperate with Yudhishthira Maharaj. Like if you listen to Mahabharat war, we only hear Arjuna and Bhima. These two are the only names mostly we listen, but not anything great done by Yudhishthira Maharaj as such during the battle. But still, they're not behind the opulence, or they're not behind the becoming a king. They are all obedient to his brother, and not from now, but from the childhood. Like if they're not obedient, they would have quit the dice game itself, where they were put in a dice game as an object. But they're so obedient to his brother, they're not behind any opulence as such. And fighting needs to be avoided, but fighting needs to be done when it is done for a righteous activity. That cannot be avoided, even though people do not like to have fights. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, though he has become a emperor, though he is having great association of the Lord himself, but he was right, always following the scriptures religiously. He was doing all the sacrifices and satisfying the demigods in a way that they are giving rains and getting the vegetables, fruits, everything is there. And Prabhupada mentioned why we need to actually kill the animals when grains are given plenty, which are very nutritious and digestible to our body. So yesterday, I had one person who helped me in allotment, and he was a Christian. So he was actually debating about with me on the Bible thing, and so I said, like, as Prabhupada said this many times, "Thou shall not kill." Then why you're actually killing the animals? So he's saying that no, my Bible says that. I can show you the proof. That's why I said that's why we don't follow Bible. We follow Bhagavad-Gita, which is which is in existence much before the Bible come into existence. And that's how we had a nice discussion anyhow. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's difficult to talk to people who have their own beliefs. People who don't have any beliefs, you can give them something, but people have their own beliefs. And then first you have to get into that belief before you can put a new belief in. Yeah, it can be time consuming as well. I've tried it myself. It's quite difficult. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Okay, so the battle has ended. The battle of Kurukshetra has ended. And also Bhishma Dev has left his own battles. He's gone on a journey. And so these texts teach us how to live and how to die. But some important lessons are transmitted in these first 4 verses. The kingdom of Hastinapur was ruled by despicable characters, and it was demoniac. However, the war was necessary because good has to overcome evil. And Yudhishthira was on the side of good. He was well protected and served by Vishmadev and Krishna. And so what happened was eventually all this garbage that we see around the world, despots, despicable leaders, despicable people, the miscreants will go. And their way of manipulating and corrupting society, like everything else, there is a sell-by date. But we have to persevere, observing, not getting engaged in the garbage that is manifestly unfolding around us. And Yudhishthira was the ideal king. He was not just a king who was dutiful, he was moral, he was ethical, he was obedient to the laws of Shastra. He was absorbed in the Shastra, and hence he was able to rule the kingdom with the utmost selfless consideration, so that he was the ruler, but beneath him were the executors, the brothers, the other administrators who took up different posts. And so collectively, they played a role in developing Hastinapur in a way that then Krishna realized, I've put it and I've left it in good hands. I can now leave the Hastinapur eventually, given that I have provided the ideal leader who will then oversee the kingdom with the utmost sensitivity, compassion, love, and affection. A land where there is plentiful, a land where grains and vegetables and the cows roam without fear, and the animals do not have to fear being annihilated or being subjected to slaughterhouses. This world has plenty. This world has 20% of the West, which has more than sufficient. However, it still pleads famine. It still feels it hasn't enough. It still feels it needs more and more and more. It's greedy. It's greedy with the way it manages the land. It's greedy the way it plunders the land. They want to go to Greenland and other places to dig up minerals so they can put it in semiconductors, microprocessors, and in our cars, which can't now function without chips. But the potato chips are nicer than those microchips. But hey, this is the world we live in. Sense gratification, alcohol, drugs, other senses which need to be titillated. The animals were safe. Nobody's safe anymore, because there'll come a time when a law will be passed when, oh, you're not fit to live, because we passed a law that says maybe only the fittest will survive. Only the fittest can pass this bill for. It's a thin end of a wedge. And that's why you need a good ruler, and not clowns that we have in the West. Thankfully that we have ideal leaders who will stand up to despots and to bullies. you can't fool the people all the time. There'll come a time when people will see through the rubbish. And Yudhishthira was the idol king. He brought sanity and peace and himsha to the kingdom he was given to serve. And we need that himsha in our minds as well. So let's work on it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, I was just thinking that even though Krishna had set all this up, they went into a lot of trouble to do this, and Krishna comes here into the material world to establish dharma. But like Pandita Prabhu mentioned, that it gets out of balance. Time is so strong that even Krishna has established something. It will be only temporary in this, because this material world is temporary. So even God comes himself and changes things for the better. With time, they will again diminish and start all over again. And then Krishna also sees these souls, who are perfect in the spiritual world. When they fall into the material world, how low can they drop? How low? He can see this soul, these children. How low can they stoop? He can see it. It's all spiritual souls, but we can go so low. Like you probably surprised Krishna that can these souls be so, so weak and so contaminated. So it's a test for us, isn't it? How far we can drop. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Ajay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, it's a nice start with this chapter in terms of you can see what's possible when there's a saintly king in charge rather than selfish, materialistic person. And it shows what's also possible when the right culture has been established, when the king is working under the guidance of Krishna, Supreme Lord, then everybody else follows naturally as well. Whereas when everybody is following a selfish, materially motivated ruler, then even if they are trying to follow bhakti, they're trying to follow spiritually, it affects the culture. They might be able to ignore it, but it affects others as well. And today, at least in today's world, it seems that it's interesting that because it's become more and more apparent how degraded things are. I think even to the youngsters as well. I think even they are becoming aware how degraded things are. I think more people of all ages, they are becoming more attracted towards religion because they're becoming more distressed. They realize that this material motivation isn't the way to go. They need something better. So this so spirituality, or more than spirituality, bhakti, actual service to the Lord, there is definitely potential there for it to keep, well, it'll always keep going, but now in today's circumstances, well, maybe having a saintly king in charge of the world might be too optimistic. You hope it could happen, but I think when people realize that things can be better, okay, this is the material world, miseries are inevitable, but there's a better way to do things, then naturally people will be inclined to go towards that. That's why it's important that we study the Bhagavatam, because we can see that it is possible, that it isn't just inevitable that you have to suffer here. If you take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of his great devotees, then you can be on the right path. And whatever sufferings you do have in this world, then you'll shrug it off. I mean, we see with our great devotees within the movement, they've suffered so much, but you see them during kirtan or during their classes, they're full of smiles. Why? Because they've taken shelter of the Lord. They trust in his will. And that's what we need to do as well. We need to just trust in his will. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah. With regards to, I'm having a king of the world. I mean, this is the age of quarrel, isn't it? Kali Yuga, and people are mentally, physically very weak and they're all disturbed, at least mentally. Everyone's, something or other end up setting us in our mind, and the things just pop up from time to time. So like that is this age, it's just not possible to have somebody, who can be at those levels. It's a different era, different age, and I don't think we can expect that. But relatively speaking, we can expect something, but maybe not to the actual level. Thank you so much. So I think Praveen Mataji is listening only. Suresh Prabhu, if you want to say anything, I'd love to hear from you. Or we can go to Radharani. And I think the other one is my father-in-law, is listening only as well. So Radharani.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. What a beautiful start to the new chapter in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So the doom and gloom is over. This is how in the material world we see the dualities. There's happiness, then there's some challenges come up. So this is how the world has been designed. If it wasn't for it, we won't be even, I think, lifting our fingers in this world. So thanks to everything, Krishna has taken care of each and everything for our upliftment of our spirituality, our bodies, our minds. Krishna has thought of everything for the society. So how wonderful that Lord must be, that who has taken care of each and every whims and fancies and our likes and dislikes, our little silly desires are taken care by the Lord. So as the chapter begins, we have seen Maharaj Yudhishthir has been established as the king and later as an emperor, and there's the deep sentiments of the Hastinapur people at the departure of Lord Krishna from Hastinapur. The prosperity of Hastinapur has been described, and how we've seen that the Queen Kunti's earlier prayers, they were seen at the time of the departure in the emotion of the people, and there's glorification of the Lord by the ladies of Hastinapur at the departure of Sri Krishna. And so this is it. We are all in the separation mood. Our bhaktis in the mood of separation. So there we see the separation, first-hand separation we have seen when the Lord departs, and how desperate they felt. When Lord was around, everything was like taken care of. They knew that the hand of Lord was there with them. And similarly, we see in the bhakti of gopis, with Radhashtami coming on Sunday, their bhakti is the highest, the topmost. That is also in the Virah Bhav, in the mood of separation. And when we see in ourselves, okay, when we are in desperation, we think of the Lord properly, or should I say badly. God, I need you. God, I need you. You need to be here to help me. But why it can't be all the time? So the mood of separation has to be all the time. Then I think only the righteousness will come in the behavior of the people. This is what we're seeing in the society. People are thinking they're the lords, they're lording over everything. If they become small leaders of a small country, or if the bigger the country, the bigger the bullies they become. And then when they find out that somebody else is trying to overtake their interests and is trying to come up as their opposite, then they're looking for allies, how to stand up against him. But this is what is happening, because the righteousness is gone. The good and bad are not even in the highest category of the people's intentions. They're just doing what they want to do. They're just living for themselves. They become selfish. So this is where Bhagavatam comes in to, bring the good and the moral back in the society. So yeah, thank you to Srila Prabhupada, thank you to all the Acharyas, and thank you to Lord Krishna for bringing back Bhagavatam 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and foremost thank you to Srimati Radharani the internal potency, the Ahladini Shakti of Lord, who has, provided everything, whether it's goddesses of the fortune, whether they're the consorts of different avatars of the Lord. Everything is coming from her, because the energy, that she's Krishna's energy and Krishna is the energetic. So yeah, looking forward to Sunday, Radhashtami, the most sweetest of the festivals we have in our Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Radharani is the epitome of the bhakti for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So yeah, looking forward. And thank you to all of you for your beautiful realizations, wonderful realizations. They're becoming sweeter and they're becoming more articulate, and you're able to bring out what is in your hearts. Because when I'm listening to all the realizations before me, I feel that. So I'm sure Krishna and Srimati Radharani are really, really happy with the little progress we're making day by day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, have a wonderful Radhashtami, and we'll catch up again here on Monday and continue with this. Thank you so much. Hari Hari Bol.
Gansa
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam
ki
ki
jai,
jai,
Srila
Srila Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai.
jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare